Welcome! Today we're going to talk about this beautiful 2021 Infiniti Q50 Red Sport 400 all-wheel drive, and we're also going to take it out for a little spin. This one is very nicely equipped with features. It's almost completely loaded. It features a really cool system that Infiniti offered in the Q50 for a while. Unfortunately, it's been discontinued. Direct adaptive steering, which I'll talk to you more about. It's a really cool system. So this is a beautiful 2021 Q50 Red Sport. Absolutely stunning vehicle. This has a lot of sports car pedigree. Decades and decades of sports car pedigree that this car has inherited. The advanced frame platform shared with the Nissan Z. It's got an all-wheel drive system, a Tesla advanced all-wheel drive system from the Nissan Skyline GTR, an early version, the R32 Skyline. It has so much cool stuff. So we'll talk about it and we'll take it out for a spin. This is a beautiful example. We have the original build sheet on this one. This was not cheap by any means. Original MSRP was $65,311. This has the proactive package that gives you, that was $1,950, giving you the direct adaptive steering, lane departure prevention, we have active lane control, blind spot intervention, adaptive front lighting system so the headlights will steer into the corners at nighttime for better nighttime visibility, and it also has auto leveling headlights as well, front pre-crash seatbelts. We have the Eco Pedal, which will encourage a more economical driving manner. Sometimes it's hard with a car of 400 horsepower, but the Eco Pedal will help. We have the splash guards, cargo package, rear USB charging ports, Infiniti Radiant illuminated kick plates, Infiniti Radiant exterior, $465, with the welcome lighting, so it creates a cool ambient effect when you approach the vehicle. Especially looks cool at, in your garage at nighttime. Then we have the all-weather package that was $225, carbon fiber rear deck lid spoiler, $870, and then we have the performance package that was $1,206, giving you a sport exhaust and cool air intake. Really cool stuff. This thing sounds absolutely amazing, beautiful to look at. One of the last of the great analog sports cars. I'm a fan of EVs, but I'm also a fan of gas-powered cars. I own an EV. I own a couple of gas-powered cars. But Infiniti Q50, if you're not big on technology, EVs and stuff like that, you want analog gauges, turbos, internal combustion, a mechanical all-wheel drive system, the Q50 delivers in spades. So we have this beautiful gallery white interior. The Q50 Red Sport 400 is one of the range topping, this is a range topping trim level in the Q50, so it's got a lot of standard equipment. You have this beautiful gallery white interior with this quilted stitching on the sides. We have a moonroof, beautiful carbon interior trim. It's also on the doors. Bose Performance Series audio system. This features a 7-speed automatic transmission. You have a manual shift mode. You can push the shift to the left and push up to upshift, back to downshift. It'll give you rev match downshifts for a sportier sound and feel. But we can also use the steering wheel paddle shifters to change those gears as well. I'll show you that when we take it for a spin. So we have a dual display system right here. The top screen is for navigation, parking camera. We have a 360-degree around view monitor. We have backup collision intervention. We have a moving object detection. The bottom screen is a tablet-like interface for vehicle settings and apps. So we go to driver's assistance. We have the distance control assist that will encourage you to slow down with fast approaching traffic. We have blind spot warning, blind spot intervention. We have a lane departure warning and lane departure intervention. And then we have forward emergency braking. Then we have a drive mode selector. So the drive mode selector can be accessed in a few different ways. You can use this for presets. You have personal, sport plus, sport, standard, eco, and snow. Or you can kind of drill down yourself into the drive mode selector and make individual changes. You can make individual changes to the engine and transmission. You can make individual changes to the steering. Okay, now let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about the direct adaptive steering. So this was a first in 2014 when the Q50 was introduced. Infiniti pioneered this amazing, completely digital steering rack. So when it's operating, there's no mechanical connection to the steering wheel at all. It's all handled by electric motors and computers. So this is pioneering technology, and it was the first production steer-by-wire system. Steer-by-wire is not that foreign. When you fly in an airplane, specifically like an Airbus, that's fly-by-wire. So these systems have redundancies. This has a very good redundancy. It actually has a mechanical steering rack that will kick in. So on the rare case you have a catastrophic loss of power, you'll lose electricity in the car, so the mechanical rack will kick in, a clutch will kick in, and they can safely steer the car to a stop at the side of the road. So there is a mechanical backup in case you have a catastrophic loss of power. So this is a first for Infiniti. Infiniti loves to be the first with technology. They had one of the first backup cameras, one of the first adaptive front lighting systems, one of the first adaptive cruise control systems. More recently, another manufacturer that has dipped into the steer-by-wire system is Tesla. The new Cybertruck has a steer-by-wire system as well. That one does not have a mechanical backup. It has triple redundancies, like it has an extra battery pack built into the steering rack. So, you know, if you do lose power, you can still steer. But, you know, the Cybertruck's a 2024 model. Infiniti was about 10 years ahead of Tesla on this amazing technology. And unfortunately, it wasn't a big seller, you know, enough for Infiniti to keep it. It's a situation where the bean counters kind of, you know, win in this situation. So I think 2022 and later, the system was dropped from all Infiniti products. Mainly it was on the Q50, Q60, and QX50. Which is too bad. A lot of people that leased Infinitis from us that had the system, they say, you know, it does feel different. You kind of have to get around your head how different it feels, and we'll talk about that in the test drive. But once they got used to it, they actually learned to really like it. And when leasing another Infiniti, they often would seek out having their new Infiniti that they're leasing having that DAS system, DAS, or direct adaptive steering. So it's like a video game controller. You can kind of take control over the feel of the steering, the weight of it, the steering ratio. You have dynamic plus, so you can give it kind of a heavy weight, kind of a fast steering ratio like a you know, a sports car, or you can give it a slower steering ratio and a lighter one like a luxury car. And it can filter out unwanted feedback. So normally when you like hit a rut in the road or a pothole that would jerk the wheel, that will get filtered out and it will just filter in the feedback that you want to feel. I have a nice curvy, very bumpy road with surface imperfections, so that'll be great to test this out shortly when we take it out for a spin. Okay, let's do a little walk around and we'll get to the good stuff, getting it on the road and seeing how this thing performs. So I have aluminum pedals, all season mats, nice metal speaker grills for the Bose sound system, beautiful gallery white interior. This thing looks absolutely stunning in black. So the Red Sport, you get a upgraded wheel and tire package. You have larger brakes. This has the red calipers. You also have a more aggressive front fascia for a more aggressive look. And hence the name Red Sport 400, you get 400 horsepower up from 300. So the VR30 twin turbo V6 has a different blade design in the turbos and a different exhaust system to get that extra 100 horsepower over the 300 horsepower you normally get from this engine. This is built on the advanced front-engine platform shared with the Nissan Z and many sporty Infiniti products we've seen over the last 20 years, like the G35, G37, Q60, FX series. They've all been built on this amazing advanced front-engine platform. So it's a rear-wheel drive based platform, even though you can implement all-wheel drive to it like this one. So the reason why they call it the advanced front-engine platform is they take the engine and they place it as far back behind the front axle as possible, so the center of gravity is towards the middle of the vehicle, giving it as perfect 50-50 weight distribution as possible. And it works amazingly. You know, obviously the Z is a world-renowned sports car that has amazing handling. You could almost consider this like a four-door all-wheel drive version of the Nissan Z. And even though this is a compact, you have decent rear seat accommodations. There's that beautiful carbon fiber rear spoiler. It's the real deal, no fake carbon fiber there. Nice sound from the performance exhaust system. We'll see how it really sounds once we get that engine revving up and we take it for a spin. We have a trunk mat. One beautiful automobile. Okay, let's get behind the wheel and take it out for a spin. All right, we're gonna take this 2021 Q50 Red Sport 400 all-wheel drive out for a spin. And I forgot to talk about the all-wheel drive system a little bit more. So as I mentioned, it was borrowed from the R32 Skyline. The R32 Skyline had many of racing success thanks to the amazing all-wheel drive system. It's a rear-wheel drive based all-wheel drive system, so naturally it's going to want to send power to the rear wheels, and it'll send up to 50% of the vehicle's power to the front wheels as needed. It's called a TASA, which stands for Advanced Total Traction Engineering System for All-Terrain. They've been putting this all-wheel drive system in Infiniti products for about 20 years. My FX37 has one. You know, many great Infiniti products have had this fantastic all-wheel drive system, and it's amazing. It really does work in all sorts of weather conditions. I've even driven these things in the snow. We had some rare lowland snow in a Q50 Red Sport, not too different than this one, and I took it for a spin, and it did spectacular in those snowy conditions. So I have the drive mode selector, so I put it on eco mode. The eco light is on, so it's going to encourage a more economical type driving manner. I can actually feel it giving me resistance on the gas pedal. It's, you know, preventing me from depressing the gas pedal all the way to, you know, encourage more economical driving. And then when I start going too fast, the eco light will start flashing saying, hey, you're not staying in eco mode. So if you want to eke out as much fuel efficiency as possible, and then save the performance driving for you know, those nice weekend drives, the eco pedal is a great way to maybe save a little bit on gas. And then we're going to put it now in sport plus mode, which is my favorite drive mode selection. So the direct adaptive steering system is a fantastic steering system. It works great. Obviously in Sport Plus, it's going to default to the most aggressive steering setting. It reacts to steering inputs really quickly. It actually reacts to steering inputs faster than a mechanical steering rack. It's almost like telepathic. And then if you hit ruts or potholes or imperfections in the road that would cause a wheel to jerk or move, it will get filtered out. And we'll test that out. I have a nice bumpy, curvy road that's great for testing this system out. So I got a green light here. I'm not going to go too crazy. We're on public roads. I represent a company, but we'll see how this thing accelerates up to 60 miles an hour. So once I get a break in traffic, I'm just going to put the pedal to the metal and floor it and see how it accelerates up to around 60 miles an hour. All right, here we go. Had the rear windows open a little bit, so you kind of heard a little bit more of that Red Sport music, but obviously, undramatically, it got up to 60 miles per hour pretty fast. Then we have the steering wheel paddle shifter, so you can downshift. And it is idiot proof, it won't over rev the engine. See, it won't let me go into first gear, which would be revving the engine, over revving the engine. So it won't let you over rev the engine, which is good. And it won't override you. Some manual shift modes, if you get to red line, it will automatically upshift, which this one won't do. And it's very smooth and seamless gear changes in the sport mode. I mean in the manual shift mode. All right, well, I'll save you the short drive to this curvy road, and with the magic of editing, we'll get you right there momentarily. I'm not going to go crazy, we're in public roads, but we'll see how this thing does. This is a great road for testing out sporty cars because it's really curvy, and then we have surface imperfections. But I'm hitting these potholes and these ruts in the road, and the direct adaptive suspension is sucking up the bumps fairly well, even though it's on the stiffest settings. And I'm not feeling much feedback through the steering wheel. You know, I feel, you know, the car, you know, steering and stuff like that, but I don't feel the wheel jerking or reacting these surface imperfections as the system is designed. Yeah, and this thing is just a wonderfully driving vehicle. You know, this is a sport sedan. It's a luxury vehicle, so it's kind of like the Swiss Army knife. They make it do a lot of things. The transmission is also downshifting a little bit more aggressively, which is nice. And this thing is just absolutely eating up the corners. The direct adaptive system is fantastic. It's just darting right in the corners. It is fantastic. This is a fantastic handling vehicle. I definitely feel a big difference in this.
Unpaved road.
That's not true. That's not true. I can definitely feel the difference in the direct adaptive steering system versus a Q50 with just a standard steering rack. And of course, the fun is all too over. Maybe a little bit quicker than I expected. This car did fairly well going through these corners. I drive a lot of sporty vehicles, high performance vehicles on these roads, and the Q50 did really well. Compared to some of the other vehicles like Porsche Caymans, AMG Mercedes, Supras. This thing definitely holds its own. And it's not a little two-door sports car, it's a practical everyday all-wheel drive four-door sedan. The exhaust system sounds fantastic. It's not too loud to be obnoxious, even though it's a little bit louder sport exhaust system. And you have that intake, which also will make the exhaust a little bit louder as well. I'm really impressed too about how well the suspension is soaking up these bumps. And some of the other cars, like obviously, you know, an extreme example is a WRX STI, an older one in 05. You could feel every little pebble you go over, but this thing is comfortable and you know, very nice ride. It's not jarring my kidneys, yet it's keeping this thing planted, almost hardly any body roll. And then the steering input's fantastic. It's just darting right in the corners. It is a lot of fun to drive. Well, let's put this in standard mode and see the difference. All right, so I can definitely tell now, just putting in standard mode, I have to move the steering wheel a lot more to get it to corner. You know, so it's definitely a faster ratio in the sportier mode, and it's a lot more lighter. I prefer the sport mode, but you know, to each his own. Everyone has a different drive mode selecting, a different steering feel. Put it back in sport mode. You can also feel the exhaust sliving up a little bit too. Yeah, now it feels good. Well, the fun is over all too soon, but the fun doesn't have to stop for you if you want to be the owner of a Q50 Red Sport. If it's not this one, you know, any Q50 Red Sport's a great vehicle. Any Q50 is a great example. You don't even have to get one with the 400 horsepower V6. You can get one of the 300 horsepower V6, and that's really fast. Or you can get one of the older Q50s that had the amazing naturally aspirated 3.7 liter V6. Fantastic, legendary engine. It doesn't have to just be the Red Sport 400. You can have fun in any type of Q50, even one of the more basic Luxes or Pure models. All right, well, I'm going to take these GoPros off the car. Thanks so much for joining me in this little test drive, this little walk around. Hopefully it's informative. If you enjoyed it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll have some more great videos coming to you in the future.